I would never want anyone to mention anything about my family, so I'd never do it about anyone else. It's not what we do. We're fighters.
2 minutes later.
Dan Hooker couldn't grapple a fucking rapist off his ma. You know what I mean?
Okay, strong statement.
Just going back and forth on Twitter.
They're on the same level, they can do that, so. Trash cans.
So here's what's going down. The beef between Paddy the Baddy, Pimblett, and Hangman, Dan Hooker, just went nuclear across social media, completely flipping the MMA community on its head as these two kept throwing verbal bombs back and forth. The whole mess started when Paddy cracked what he thought was a harmless joke, but Hooker's response was anything but chill, immediately cranking up the heat between them. This war of words got so intense that it even pulled Arman Tsarukyan into the mix, creating another wild storyline in what's becoming the hottest drama the sport has seen lately. Things really went sideways when Paddy decided to take aim at Dan Hooker's ground game during a recent interview. What should have been standard fight hype instantly turned into something way more serious when his comments crossed into territory that had people shaking their heads. That one moment triggered a massive blowback, creating a domino effect of heated reactions that turned an already tense situation between these fighters into something deeply personal.
And lad, people are saying like just engage. He's older than that lad. He's 2 years older than Dan Hooker.
That's true.
Dan Hooker couldn't grapple a fucking rapist off his ma.
Obviously, Dan Hooker wasn't having any of it, and when he caught wind of what Paddy said, he came back swinging hard, making it obvious to everyone that this had moved way beyond friendly competition into something real. His response showed zero chill and sent a clear message that things had gotten genuinely personal between them, proving this wasn't just internet drama anymore. Hooker's words were straight up hostile, quote, "It's on site, you fat piece of trash." But here's where fans started calling out Paddy's hypocrisy. In that same interview, he'd completely refused to say anything about Ilia Topuria's family drama, making it clear he draws hard lines about what's off limits, even when rivalries get heated. He explained that family stuff should never become part of the conversation, saying fighters can trash talk skills and competition, but personal life needs to stay protected. Pimblett actually showed real class in that moment, genuinely saying he hopes everything works out for Topuria, and that the whole situation gets handled properly, which made his attack on Hooker look even worse by comparison.
Never want anyone to mention anything about my family, so I'd never do it about anyone else. It's not what we do. We're fighters. We say what we want about each other. Say anything about me, I'll say anything about him. But don't mention families, you know, that's below the belt. And I wish him nothing but the best with it, lad. I hope it all gets resolved. I hope it all gets resolved and he gets to see his child, lad. That's the main thing. But for now, I'm fighting for the world title. He's sitting on the sideline, so when I win this belt, I'm the champ. Don't care if it says interim on it. When I win this belt, I'm the champ, and if he's not back by June, July, he best have to vacate or get stripped, and I am the champ.
The situation kept spiraling when Dan Hooker decided to escalate even further, going after Paddy Pimblett for staying silent when they were actually in the same room together, blasting him as fake and two-faced when cameras weren't rolling. Hooker claimed he genuinely believed they had mutual respect, only to feel completely blindsided by the public call-out. What really shocked people and crossed a major line was when Hooker brought up Ricky in his response. This move left viewers disturbed and angry, especially considering Ricky was someone incredibly important to Paddy who tragically died by suicide in 2022, adding an extremely dark and inappropriate element to an already explosive situation. Hooker's exact response was, "Ain't said nothing to my face. I thought we were mates, but you're not a very good mate. Are you Paddy? R.I.P. Ricky." Paddy Pimblett immediately struck back at Dan Hooker with everything he had, blasting what he saw as a completely unhinged overreaction. He made it clear that Hooker had taken a simple hypothetical comment about grappling and turned it into something twisted, then had the nerve to bring up a friend who had taken his own life. Paddy called this move absolutely disgusting while simultaneously continuing to mock Hooker's fighting abilities, showing that this beef had become deeply personal and incredibly bitter. Paddy's counter was, "Thought we couldn't be mates because I'm ranked above you. You took a hypothetical hypothetical joke about how bad your grappling is and responded by talking trash about my mate who committed suicide. Now that's lowest of the low and on site is fine by me. You're utter garbage at fighting. While all this chaos was unfolding, Arman Tsarukyan basically ignored the whole online war between Paddy Pimblett and Dan Hooker, making it obvious that he doesn't see either guy as elite level competition in this division. He completely dismissed their entire feud, treating it like meaningless drama between two fighters he considers equals who aren't real factors in the championship conversation.
There's a little conflict going around with Dan Hooker and Paddy Pimblett. I was wondering if you were able to, see it or what you thought about it.
I didn't see what they're doing.
Just going back and forth on Twitter.
They're on the same level, they can do that, so. Trash cans.
Let's dive into what Arman Tsarukyan thinks about Paddy Pimblett's ground game, because he's openly questioning whether the body is really as dangerous as people claim once fights hit the mat. Tsarukyan doesn't buy into Paddy's reputation in that area, pointing out that Pimblett rarely faces truly elite grapplers in high-pressure situations, which leaves major questions about his actual skill level when things get serious. On top of that, Tsarukyan suggests that recent footage and gym stories only back up his doubts, creating a narrative that Paddy's ground prowess might be more hype than reality when he faces someone with legitimate grappling credentials.
I just want to say he has no grappling. He trains with guys. He never compete even the high level. He never compete in jiu-jitsu or grappling. I saw him. He had a fight, grappling fight, and he tapped or he lost. So he's a trash can in the grappling and the wrestling.
Paddy Pimblett wasn't about to take that lying down, so he fired right back at Arman Tsarukyan with some sharp words of his own, going after Arman's grappling reputation and questioning just how good he actually is on the ground. Paddy went hard, dismissing any grappling success Arman might have had outside of MMA competition, contrasting it with his own focused approach to fighting. He made it crystal clear that his entire career revolves around octagon performance, not what he considers sideshows and external grappling tournaments. The exchange got nasty quickly as Paddy cleverly painted Arman's participation in these outside grappling events as unnecessary risk-taking, potential injury situations outside their main sport, and used it to add more fuel to their already burning rivalry.
He's been grappling a lot. I know you don't want to talk about him, but how do you feel about his, his grappling tournaments that he's
Lad,
been
I
at?
heard he nearly got triangled by what's his name?
Shara Magomedov.
Yeah, he nearly got triangled by him, and he can't grapple to save his life either.
It's a tough
He's a
one.
striker, and he nearly got triangled by him. Know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you ever got any interest of taking those sort of exhibition type things? You know, RAF have got this kind of like grappling thing. Is there ever been like a reach out for like let's do a grappling match for Pimblett, or is that?
I don't know. Before I was in the UFC years ago, when I was coming back from an injury, I done Polaris one time against Stevie Ray. He caught me in a leg lock. That's like the only one I've done in the past 10 years or something like that. I used to do grappling competitions all the time when I was younger and stuff like that, but obviously I'm focused on fighting now. I don't, like, he can go off and do all these other things if he wants, lad, but hopefully he takes his neck doing them.
Here's something interesting about Arman Tsarukyan's situation. He'd previously shown interest in being the backup fighter for the big Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje fight, but now he's making it clear he won't put himself through a brutal weight cut without concrete purpose. He explained that despite all the rumors about him being the obvious backup choice for such a major bout, the UFC never actually contacted him with any official offer. Without that direct communication from the promotion, he sees zero reason to torture his body with dehydration and stress based on pure speculation. From Tsarukyan's practical perspective, enduring a weight cut is absolutely brutal, especially after going through that process before with nothing to show for it. He's now prioritizing protecting his body and energy, emphasizing that he won't drain himself again unless a real confirmed opportunity gets officially presented to him.
I know you've mentioned wanting to be the backup fighter. Have you had any talks with the UFC about actually officially having that position? Because I think you're really the only guy who could be the backup fighter right now.
No, I didn't talk to them, and I wouldn't cut my weight just for money, because it's a hard. But if they ask me, I'll do that. But they didn't ask, so that's why it's better for me not to cut weight than. You know, yeah, just if I cut, I want to fight.
For sure. It's I mean, cutting weight is so hard.
I already cut in June, you know, and nothing happened, and just I spent, you know, my energy for the training camp, for the weight cut. It's always stress when you cut your weight, you know.
In typical fashion, Paddy Pimblett didn't hesitate to throw the blame right back at Arman for creating his own problems. Paddy went straight for the throat, calling out Arman's notorious weigh-in drama, those controversial moments on the scale that created headaches for everyone, and his frustrating pattern of pulling out of fights at the last minute. Pimblett made his position crystal clear that those specific behaviors and that track record have completely disqualified Tsarukyan from deserving any title shot consideration. He suggested that being reliable in professional matters just as much as cage performance when it comes to earning championship opportunities, and Tsarukyan has failed miserably in that department, according to Paddy's assessment.
He is. So what about this fucking Arman fella, dude? What are we saying, this posh cunt?
Fuck him. Simple as, lad. I'm getting sick of getting asked about him and people talking about him. Oh, he should be in this interim title fight. He shouldn't fucking headbutt people at weigh-ins then, should he, lad? And punch fans in us when he's walking out, lad, and pull out a title fight the night before. So as far as I'm concerned, lad, he can eat shit, lad, and fucking, as Dana said, he can get back to the drawing board.
Nice. Get that one out of the way early on Arman Tsarukyan. He could have been in the mix for this fight, but I just feel like there's a lot of ulterior factors that people aren't considering other than just his recent win over Dan Hooker. I know he's a top contender, but there's a whole lot that he's done wrong before, and this is the big Paramount debut.
And lad, people are saying, like, just engage. He's older than that, lad. He's 2 years older than Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker's like 2 years younger than him.
That's true.
Dan Hooker can't. Dan Hooker couldn't grapple a fucking rapist off his ma.
The consequences became real when Dana White himself officially confirmed that Arman Tsarukyan's headbutting controversy with Dan Hooker during the weigh-ins absolutely impacted his career trajectory. White straight up admitted that the incident played a direct role in Tsarukyan losing out on a UFC title shot, proving that fighter behavior outside the octagon carries serious professional consequences. This confirmation serves as a brutal reminder that the UFC demands accountability from its athletes beyond just fight performance, showing how maintaining professionalism at all times can make or break careers.
I obviously am not one of these fans, but some fans thought Arman should have been the one to get a 155 title pound shot.
We knew that would happen too.
Of course. Did the headbutt play any factor in the decision to not go with him? It did, right?
A lot of things have factored in, you know.
Now let's get into the real story behind Arman Tsarukyan's withdrawal from the massive UFC 311 fight against Islam Makhachev, because he's finally revealed it was due to a serious hernia injury. This medical explanation provides context for a controversial pullout that generated significant criticism. Even with a legitimate health reason for missing the bout, Tsarukyan still faced harsh backlash from fans and media who questioned his commitment. He continues dealing with the aftermath of that difficult choice, showing how even medically necessary withdrawals can create lasting damage to a fighter's reputation and career prospects. It perfectly demonstrates how unforgiving this business can be.
Remember, I think it was in LA, you were gonna fight Islam, you messed up your back. What's the recovery been, you know, for, you know, and like what happened? How did you get injured in your back before the fight versus Islam?
So I did the MRI after the fight, and it shows like, I don't know how to explain in English, but I have a gryzia. No.
Translate? Let's see. Hernia.
So I have that thing.
Okay.
And I may need surgery, I may not. So we'll see if it's gonna bother me again. I gotta do surgery.
Gotta remove the hernia.
Yeah, remove that.
Gotcha. So, was it pretty painful?
Yeah, my back was stuck. You know, I couldn't move.
Man.
And then in 2-3 weeks, I started like.
The drama keeps building for Arman Tsarukyan as he got into a heated argument with a prominent MMA analyst over Ilia Topuria's chances against reigning champion Islam Makhachev. The analyst had claimed that while Topuria could potentially compete at 55 pounds, he'd struggle significantly at 170. Arman responded with serious fire, completely dismissing the take with aggressive intensity. He made it obvious that he doesn't think the analyst has sufficient knowledge or understanding about the complex layers of this sport to make such definitive statements, basically suggesting the expert was talking out of his depth. This exchange really showed Arman's confidence in his own fight analysis and his willingness to challenge established voices in the MMA community.
Tapuri and Islam, Tapuri has no chance. Whatever. You think Tapuri can beat Islam?
Yeah.
Bro, you
No, at 170,
MMA,
no.
bro.
At 170, no. At 155, yes.
Like working in an interview, guy. You know shit about MMA.
I do. There's no way Ilya Topuria can't.
What's good, bro?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, 165.
No, it's 170 as well.
Bro, Islam fighting 170. He's not 155 fighter.
Yeah, that's why I said at 170 I don't think so, but it's close. But at 155, I think Ilya can beat Makhachev. Yeah, very good. No.
He has just boxing. That's it.
He has grappling too.
Where?
He submitted Bryce Mitchell.
Looking at predictions from another angle, the legendary Michael Bisping has made a bold statement predicting that Ilya Topuria will maintain his championship through 2026, confidently declaring that nobody currently in the division has what it takes to dethrone him right now. Bisping recognizes that Arman Sorokin represents a dangerous wild card lurking in the shadows, a legitimate threat who could potentially disrupt everything. However, Bisping doesn't expect a fight between these two to materialize anytime soon, indicating that the timing just isn't aligned properly. This perspective leaves Topuria's championship reign looking relatively secure for the immediate future, creating a clear runway for him to build his legacy without facing immediate elite level challenges.
At 155 pounds, I don't see anyone beating Ilya Topuria. I just don't. Not Paddy, not Justin. Yeah, all right, there's Arman Sorokin out there, and he's the dark horse. Obviously, Paddy and Justin are fighting for the interim title. That's an interesting fight because Justin, better boxer, better wrestling, never uses the wrestling. Even if he did use the wrestling, you wouldn't really want to take Paddy Pimblett down. Paddy's a lot younger, a lot less miles on the clock, a lot less wear and tear. I'm kind of early leaning towards Paddy Pimblett in that fight. But who's the undisputed champ at the end of 2026? So yeah, 2026, Topuria will still be the champ. Yeah, there's Arman Sorokin out there, but I don't think that fight will materialize.
Let's examine what strategic mastermind Trevor Whitman is revealing about Justin Gaethje's fight preparation. Whitman suggests that Gaethje is getting ready to show a completely different aspect of his skill set when he potentially faces Paddy Pimblett, with surprising focus on his ground game development. Whitman explains that the team isn't treating this as a pure striking contest, which might catch some people off guard given Gaethje's reputation as a stand-up fighter. He emphasizes the massive amount of intensive training Gaethje has invested in developing his wrestling and grappling abilities, areas where he's historically been underestimated by opponents and fans. From Whitman's expert perspective, the game plan centers around being proactive and aggressive from the opening bell rather than just responding to situations. This means actively using Justin's improved control and his famously devastating ground strikes as primary offensive weapons instead of just defensive tools to survive scrambles.
Whatever Paddy's saying is like whatever he's dreaming and thinking, you know, all power to him. We're ready for everything, and we did not go into this fight thinking it's going to be just a striking fight at all. Like Justin has spent so much time. That's probably the proudest thing I am with Justin, is the amount of time that he's put into his grappling, because his wrestling is so high level. But it's more of the offensive and positional type of fighting. You know, for so long, I remember when we got stopped by Oliveira and I had to have a conversation with everybody on the team, like, hey, Justin is a high level guy, one of the best scramblers out there. You have some of the best slams out there, the Rampage Jackson type of slams. We're offensive. Justin's style is offensive, and to be a champion, you push people back. You have to throw people on their heels. I look at this as when we had the Oliveira fight, we were defensive. We were like, don't get in this position. How do you get out of this position? You can't win fights like that. And you have to win offensively.
Trevor Whitman dives deeper into the specifics, explaining that grappling with someone like Pimblett brings unique and significant risks, especially when fights transition to the canvas. He passionately describes how Gaethje's top control and ground striking truly separate him from other fighters, not just through raw power, but through intelligent positioning and constant pressure that makes it extremely challenging for opponents to find comfort or stability. While Whitman acknowledges that Paddy Pimblett has legitimate effectiveness at dragging fights to the ground, he subtly subtly but clearly questions Paddy's actual wrestling credentials. Whitman doesn't see Paddy consistently taking Gacy down or maintaining control during grappling exchanges, suggesting that Gacy's defensive wrestling and physical strength would overwhelm Pimblett's ground game.
Justin's one of those guys that when you grapple with him, his ground and pound is so unique. So unique. He hits people with punches at different angles on the ground that are so effective. And it's top game. Like, how do you know your top game, and how do you know that? Like, Paddy, I think, is very good when it comes to dragging people to the floor. I don't think Paddy's a great wrestler. I don't think he's going to go out there and take Justin down. Obviously, he could slip on the mats. He can time something really good where the hips are up, but I don't see Paddy taking him down.
But Paddy Pimblett is radiating pure confidence as he looks toward a potential showdown with Justin Gaethje, boldly declaring that if this fight happens, it absolutely won't reach the judges' scorecards. He's realistic about Gaethje's legendary knockout power and legitimate threat level. But here's what's interesting. Paddy claims he's identified specific weaknesses in Gaethje's approach that he can definitely exploit. He's not just talking trash, he's positioning himself as the fighter who's far more likely to secure a spectacular finish rather than letting the outcome depend on judges' decisions. So when he ends Gaethje's game, what exactly does he think his path to victory looks like? What's his master plan?
I think I finish him wherever the fight goes, to be honest. Obviously, I know we can bang, but every fight we get a breakdown made of our opponent, and it actually shocks me how much he gets hit. And I know he takes one to give one, but you can't really just do that at this level. That's why he's lost to people like Eddie Alvarez, Dustin Poirier, Charles, because you can't just take one to give one, and I'm not going to just be standing there to let him hit me back, you know what I mean? So be using me range, keeping him on the outside, and I've got a feeling I'm going to knock him out, to be honest. I don't know what it is, I've just got a sneaky suspicion I'm going to knock him out. You know, I've been doing a lot of rounds with Luke Riley for this camp, and Luke's got much better technical striking than Justin Gaethje. And I'm having a lot of success sparring with Luke, and obviously one of my coaches, Ellis, who used to fight himself, he's the exact same build as Justin. He's 5'10" with a 70-inch reach, and I've been doing rounds with him. He's literally, because he doesn't fight anymore, lad, and he's just a coach, he's just done Justin's style for me. He hasn't got his own style, he's been doing Justin for me, and just the bits what we're working, I can see me knocking him out or dropping him and then submitting him. People are going on about his takedown defense, but if I want to take him down, I will take him down, lad. Simple as.
Paddy Pimblett is making some seriously bold claims, stating that even his teammate Luke Riley is actually a more well-rounded striker than the highly regarded Justin Gaethje himself. That's an incredibly confident statement that demands attention. He supports this by pointing to Riley's combination of speed, power, and technical precision, emphasizing that Luke has been training Muay Thai since he was just 8 years old. Here's the key detail that makes this claim even more significant. That training started years before Gaethje even began wrestling, let alone developing his striking game. This isn't random trash talk. It's a calculated and bold declaration from Paddy about the striking depth and quality within his training environment, implying they have fundamental skills that even elite strikers like Gaethje might be missing.
Like me at all. So the fact that I've got Ellis playing Justin Gaethje for me, and then I've got Luke, who's a better, faster, more powerful technical striker than him, I think it all goes into my favour.
You got Luke Riley above Justin. You're rating him above Justin Gaethje in the striking department already in his career, you reckon?
Yeah. Luke Riley's been fighting Thai in Thailand since he was 8 years old, lad. You know what I mean? When Justin Gaethje was wrestling, lad, Luke was fighting Thai and then doing amateur boxing, and Luke's striking is a class above.
From a strategic standpoint, Trevor Whitman views UFC 324 as an absolutely crucial, career-defining moment for Justin Gaethje, suggesting that this event represents his last serious attempt at capturing UFC gold. Whitman makes it clear that the objective for Gaethje isn't to hang around for big money fights or become a stepping stone for rising contenders. The mission is focused and urgent to make one final, all-out championship run. From Whitman's experience perspective, everything revolves around giving maximum effort during this phase of his career, while staying conscious of Gaethje's long-term health and his important responsibilities as a husband and father outside the fighting world.
I'm not afraid to speak it out loud. Like, this is our last run. Like, Justin's not, if we don't win this fight, we're not going on. Like, this is we're not going to go out there and be a gatekeeper and look at money fights and shit like that. It's you know, he's a goal setter, and his mentality, just like he finished up. I don't know if you watched that video. Might as well go watch it if you haven't. We're in his house and the family's having a dinner, and you know, I have that true talk, and I'm talking to his family. I'm not talking to him. And you know, it's the way he ends it. He's like, "It's not over, coach." So that's the key to Justin. Justin is very unique. He would fight over and over and over, but he knows he's got to be there for the family. He's got to be smart and take care of his health. And but we win this belt. My shoot to the moon type of goal would be, let's go out there and repeat defenses. Obviously, this is an interim title fight, so we're not the champ yet. So we'd have to go win that belt next.
Moving into some expert predictions, Michael Chandler strongly believes that Justin Gaethje has a clear edge over Paddy Pimblett in their potential matchup. Chandler gives Pimblett credit for his skills and entertaining fighting style, but he still considers Gaethje the more complete and developed fighter across all areas. But Chandler doesn't stop with that analysis. He makes an even bolder prediction, claiming that he believes Gaethje has exactly what's needed to defeat the dangerous Ilia Topuria later this year. If that fight gets booked, this prediction really shows Chandler's deep confidence in Gaethje's overall abilities and his potential to succeed against the absolute best fighters in the division. Not just in this specific fight, but moving forward. What do you think a Gaethje-Paddy fight would actually look like?
Oh man, more skilled, more experienced, I think better fighter all around, Justin Gaethje. But I also have been on record and said that Paddy Pimblett is better than a lot of people think he is. You know, because of his, you know, his haircut and the way he talks and the, you know, some of the, you know, the strength of schedule. People don't give him a lot of credit, but when I fought him in April in Miami, I'm not going to say that I was surprised, because I was expecting the best version of Paddy, but he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's got long reach, good kicks, pretty darn patient and composed in there. But Gaethje's a whole different animal. So if I had to bet, which I can't, but if I had to lean one direction, I'd go Justin Gaethje, interim champion, and then he beats Ilia Topuria later on this year.
Now let's hear from a true legend, as Chuck Liddell has shared his thoughts on the highly anticipated potential battle between Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje with some valuable perspective. Liddell thinks Pimblett could be looking at an extremely difficult challenge in this fight, a real measuring stick for where his career is heading. While he avoids getting into the complex politics behind fight bookings, Liddell clearly finds the matchup compelling, openly expressing respect for both fighters and what they bring to the table. He even hints that Gaethje might very well secure a finish in this contest, which only adds more excitement and anticipation for what could be an absolutely incredible fight for everyone watching.
People are upset that Paddy Pimblett's getting the title shot versus Gaethje instead of Armin. What's your take on that?
I don't know. I don't follow that too much, like that politics and that stuff. I mean, I don't know what makes it make sense. It'd be good fight, and Armin think have to find the winner.
So who do you got in that fight? Do you have Paddy or do you have Gaethje?
You know, I'd like to see. I like both guys, so it's an interesting fight.
I always make you pick one. You got to pick one. You got Paddy.
I'd like to see Gaethje pull off.
You want to see Gaethje pull off?
So I think Paddy's incoming.
That wraps up our complete breakdown of all the latest MMA developments, and we really hope you found every moment of this analysis valuable. We covered everything from explosive feuds and controversial accusations to expert predictions and coaching insights from the top minds in the sport. We're curious to hear your perspective on all this dramatic action and these upcoming potential fights, so drop your predictions, thoughts, and any questions you're thinking about in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown and found it informative, please show some love by smashing that like button, and definitely subscribe to stay connected so you catch our next complete analysis of everything happening in combat sport.